Generally, when we're thinking about really high-end amplification, there is a handful of names that come to mind. And one that some of you may be a little bit less familiar with as of right now, but for a long time in the high-end audio world has been an absolute tour de force when it comes to great amplification, is Classe A. Classe A was known for making some of the biggest, baddest stereo and monoblock power amps that you could get in terms of sheer power with clean sound, as well as what I still consider one of the gold standards in multi-channel amplification for home theater. Classe A disappeared for a little while, but now they're back, and just a couple years ago, they launched the Delta series of amplifiers and preamps. I have a system consisting of 2 Delta monos and the Delta pre here today, driving these beautiful Bowers & Wilkins 801 D4s. All right, everybody, before we get into the details of the Classe A Delta and a little bit of history of this brand and what I really admire about them, don't forget to subscribe to the Gramophone channel and click that bell icon hiding down in the corner there so you won't miss out on any upcoming highlights. Let me give you a little bit of background on Classe A. Classe A first came to be in the 1980s, and they are a purely Canadian product, born and completely designed, in fact, in Montreal, Canada. And the entire idea of Classe A was to make an amp that is not only powerful, but is very true to source, very transparent. And it's funny because the name Classe A is a bit of a double entendre. Classe A is the name, but it also kind of sounds like class letter A amplifiers. Because Classe A amps, they are an AB design, technically speaking, but there is a lot of usable, purely Class A amplification out of a Classe A amplifier. What is inside this amplifier? How is it designed? What kind of philosophy is going on here that is going to get us an amp that can make mad power when it needs to, though doesn't often need to, and is going to get us, again, a sound that's about as clean and transparent as one could really hope for before something could just become fatiguing anyway. Well, the Classe A brand does a couple things that are really unique. Notice that this is a 300 watt monoblock amplifier, and that's 300 watts into 8 ohms. Tell you what, while we're on the spec sheet, let's just go through it. 300 into 8, 600 into 4, and this can handle 2 ohm swings and actually put out a straight 1000 watts into 2 ohm loads. A couple other cool figures about what this amp can do. The distortion in this amp is practically vanishing, reaching its worst point at 0.1% at its full continuous load of 300 watts into 8 ohms. And I mean 0.1% maximum load, continuous output, just pegging this thing to the maximum. It would not get worse than 0.1%, which when you look at it like that is very impressive. At normal loads, which we'll actually be using every day, distortion is vanishing, never getting worse than 3 decimal places back. We're talking like 0.0001, even sometimes hitting 4 decimal places back in distortion. That is completely imperceivable to the point where it's almost not even worth measuring. It's just so gone. Now, part of why this amp behaves the way it does, how it makes the sound it makes, is I mentioned the whole Classe A thing, right? This is an AB amp, but it's very Classe A biased or weighted. This will make up to 35 watts of purely Classe A power, which is awesome because true Classe A is arguably, when done right, still the most transparent amp design that there is. Take a look at the meters here. The very center of that meter is just 3 watts, 3 watts of pure Classe A. One notch above that is the 30 watt mark, and then this runs out of Classe A at 35. What if I told you that at average listening levels, I'm barely getting to 3 watts, and even if I'm pushing it to the point where my ears are starting to hurt a little bit, I'm never getting above the 30. On average, I'm hanging about here to about here, barely using the rated power capabilities of this amp. But because it is that purely Classe A design, at least in that 35 watt range, really high current, smooth delivery, it just seems, there's that word again, effortless in its delivery. If you want to learn more about the Classe A brand or you want to come experience this amp for yourself, give us a call and stop by one of our showrooms. You'll find us in Timonium, Columbia, and Gaithersburg, Maryland. We also have a beautiful kitchen design center in Hunt Valley. And in the meantime, please go online to gramophone.com where you can read about all of the brands we carry, including Class A, for more information. All right, everybody, I hope you had fun today. I know I did. These are such cool products. If so, please give this video a like. We'd really appreciate that thumbs up because it helps us a lot. As always, thank you guys so much for watching and for hanging out with me. I'll be seeing you.